Hello friends, so I hope everyone is doing good and everyone is must have already be ready for the J main second attempt, and all the best for everyone who is going to write for J main second attempt. And now it's almost time for that we have to start for the advanced plan, right? Because it is on the May third week, your advanced exam is coming. Once the main is over, again you have to start for your advance, and those who have already cleared a good percentile in J means first attempt, they must be already starting their, they must have already started their preparation for advance. So now I came here with a advanced plan for chemistry. Okay, so how you have to prepare in a better way to get into a good IIT or better IIT, and to prepare for the JE advance, right? So there is always a way to prepare because you have less time now. So you cannot start from the beginning, and you will not get that 1 year 2 year time now, right? You have almost 1 month, hardly 1 month. You don't even have, right, a complete April complete, yeah, 1.5 month, right? So 1.5 month you have now, you have where you have to prepare. So you have to clearly give a proper way to study. So the proper execution of the plan and a proper strategy will help you to better cover everything in a way that you can attend and to give a you can attend the questions correctly. So I am with that plan. I like, for example, just I'm going to this. Suppose I have taken some of the like advanced questions, previous year questions here. Already in the mains also I said that you have to do the PYQ analysis properly. But most of the one, no, when you are doing PYQ, you must have solved that PYQ, right? You will take that PYQ, you will solve it. If you get it correctly, you will leave it. If you get it wrong, then you will just check it. Okay, this is the answer. Oh, this is the answer. Okay, I will study the answer. Then you will move on to the other one. Most of the one also don't check. Like if you are getting wrong, you will get desperate, you will get demotivated, and you will go to the other questions. Like, it's not like that. A proper analysis of the question is very very important at this stage. It's not just at this stage. Who all are preparing, maybe after next year or next to next year, whoever, you have to use this method from the beginning for each questions you are doing. Okay, so here why I'm saying, no, the more than theory, when you are doing questions, you will get better understanding of that theory, what actually that theory is said by the questions, right? When you are solving the questions, you will like understand more better. So see here one example. I will discuss here how to solve the most of the theory questions and the numerical one, right? How to analyze the numerical plus the theory questions. So you see here this is from, I have choose the chapter of kinetics here, one example. As an example, you can use the same method for every chapter. So see here, in a bimolecular reaction, steric factor P was experimentally determined to be 4.5. The correct options among this is something about the theory part, right? So suppose I am reading it. The activation energy of the reaction is unaffected by the value of steric factor. Experimentally determined value of frequency factor is higher than predicted by Arrhenius equation. Since P is equal to 4.5, the reaction will not proceed unless an effective catalyst is used. The value of frequency factor predicted by Arrhenius equation is higher than that of determined by experiment. These two, either one only will come. It's multiple correct. So you can eliminate some options in some cases, right? But if my suggestion, if you are sure with one option, you can tick it, but don't just randomly put something. If you're sure with one, you can go it, you will get partial marking, right? You have to go it, right? Now while approaching this, some of you may already know the concept behind it, but in case if you don't know, because if whatever you know, you will score the marks. So we have to focus on what we don't know, and also that is repeated part. Okay, the activation energy of the reaction is unaffected by the value of steric factor. Most of us will always know, what we know, it must be this equation: K is equal to A e to the power minus EA by RT. We know that this main thing, rate constant, Arrhenius constant, this is the fraction of molecules undergoing the effective collisions, right? Has an effective collision. So you should understand that Arrhenius factor. What is this Arrhenius factor? You should understand all the theory regarding this, and you should understand all the theory regarding this part. This part you must have already known clearly, because in mains it is many times repeated questions. Fraction of molecules undergoing the this effective collision, which was activation energy, enough activation energy. But now they are focusing on this one. In NCERT they have given A is equal to that PZ in collision theory. So first you have to go is, if you don't know this, make sure you are going and reading NCERT properly of that chapter. Okay, for example, I'll just take here, suppose I am taking the NCERT here and I have that part of NCERT. You have to clearly understand each and every terms in the NCERT. Okay, so here you see the complete thing about theory you have to start with. So for example, I completely read this theory and then come to the collision frequency. Collision frequency part is now important. So in the collision frequency side, again you have to see this all thing. 1 second, I think my pointer is not working here. Yeah. Okay, I will take this one. So in collision frequency, again you have to know the correct thing about Z. What is Z? Where Z AB represent the collision frequency of the reactants, and this represents the fraction of molecules with energy equal or greater than, that is also important, even equal is enough, or greater than, or sometimes question will come only greater than EA. It is equal to greater than EA. So while now when you are reading, what is the benefit? No, after reading the question, when you are reading, you will even like note out each and every point, right? Since it is a true or false questions, multiple correct questions, you will now note out each and every point, because now you have a particular motive, right? You have a particular things to understand completely so that you can answer it. While you are just reading it, you will read and go, right? You may not have noticed each and every point of that. Now you will read it perfectly, right? Now you should know everything about this one, ZAB. Now come to here, I am not reading all things, okay? You can do it. I am just saying how to analyze or how to go with this. Account for the effective collisions. Effective collisions are by like two things you can see that in effective collisions, this will come, this will also come. So this two factor about that you should know. P is probability factor, Z is frequency, collision frequency. This probability factor, now you may don't get enough theory, because since it is an advance, you may not get the enough theory from the NCERT alone. So you can now, after reading that also, if you are not getting, you just go through your solution. Once you go to solution, if the solution contains the detailed analysis of that question, you can go to solutions and collect the new data they have given. Now you are not must have more data if you are going already to a questions, or you are collecting anything nodes already, or a particular grades, like GRB has a better, GRB more than everyone, I think they are going to Cengage, but I felt like GRB has a better kind of theory in it, theory case, it has a better, and like Cengage also has. So any of this book you can choose, for not for questions I am saying, to analyze the complete theory. Otherwise you have to go by the MSc books like Atkins and all. You might not have the time, but for the better analysis of a particular topic you can take it, no issues. Okay, so like now you have to completely know about it, because since it came in advance, you should know about it, right? Because NCERT, if it is not complete, for example, NCERT is not saying anything about probability factor much. Probability factor is actually having a value, because it is a probability, out of 1. So this value is actually not saying here, but in the question actually they mentioned if probability factor is 4.5, like that it is mentioning, right? So if probability factor is 4.5, what will be the conditions? They have given some conditions like that. right? So that is one thing you have to like note out. Once you go with the NCERT completely, then after knowing the NCERT, try for the questions again and read the solution. If anything new you are getting, you can collect it and read something in deeply about that particular topic, not just a topic alone. You don't have the time for deeply knowing every content of the chapter. Okay, so that's why I'm saying that particular topic alone, try to analyze it better way. Now see, again I'm going into that. For example, like activation energy, see one example I will give here. You can go to like some points like this. This is actually from Atkins only I have taken. There is something like frequency factor is rate constant in the limit that all encounters irrespective of the energy led to reactions. Many things they will be having, like it will be having. For example, you should like ln k is equal to a is equal to sorry k is equal to a e to the power minus ea by rt. You know, ln k is equal to ln a minus ea by rt. Now if you clearly note it down, you can see that, see, if this is 0, temperature is infinity, this complete thing become 0. Therefore k will become a if temperature at infinity. So at infinite, a is actually finding out from the intercept of the graphic analysis is important. So at infinite temperature only a is actually find out. And also if activation energy is 0 also, then also it is k, a is equal to k. So which means that irrespective of the energy, if all collisions, if activation energy is 0, every collision will lead to the like what product. So that kind of analysis also is important, since it is this particular concept has been already k. So this complete analysis of that particular thing is important. Now you see, one I will just discuss the questions. The activation energy of the reaction is unaffected by the value of steric factor. That is actually correct. Activation energy, this is one part and this is another part. This is about the effective collisions frequency. This is about the collision frequency and probability factor, which is completely depend on the number of collisions and the orientation factor. Okay, this probability actually we can take out the orientation factor and this set, and this is actually that much fraction of the molecules which which is having these two value properly and which is undergoing this particular like reaction which have enough energy. Okay, so that is about like this one. So you should have a better understanding of this very clearly. Now experimentally determined value of frequency factor is higher than predicted by Arrhenius equation. Already they have given 4.5. So A we know that it is equal to P into Z, right? Already we know that it is P into Z. So actually this A, if this is 0.1, 0 to 1, if it is 1, then it will be equal to the set, right? Almost all, if probability factor is 1, almost everything have a proper orientation and all, but it should be usually less than 1, right? So if it is less than 1, you can see that P value is, here what is the P value given? 4.5. So definitely 4.5 means it is greater. So experimentally determined value of frequency factor is higher than predicted by Arrhenius equation. That is correct. This is the experimentally determined. P was experimentally determined to be 4 point. So that is correct. So a better analysis will help you to understand each and every term of this particular concept also. That is one of the benefit if you are analyzing it properly. Okay. Now you see here the next part. Actually these two are the correct options. Since but you have to go through each and every things, no, okay, because you have to know why it is incorrect also, because from that also you will get some additional things. For example, since P is equal to 4.5, the reaction will not proceed unless an effective catalyst is used. That is wrong actually, right? Because probability is very high. So if probability is very high, reaction will go, right? Reaction will go. You don't need a catalyst. If probability is very less, rate will be less. So in order to attain the equilibrium faster, to decrease the activation energy and all, we have to use the catalyst. So that is why it is wrong. So that is also important. The value frequency factor, this is just opposite of that, so no need to take care of that. Okay, so that's how you have to analyze that particular questions properly, so that the whole theory about that you have already done, so you are safe side if any question is coming from that theory. Now the next thing I have to I just took a kind of numerical questions from the rate pseudo first order reaction. So again you should know what is a pseudo first order reaction. So here the question is, consider a reaction A plus R gives product. The rate of this reaction is measured to be A and R. It depends on these two, K into A into R. At the start of the reaction, concentration, okay, the concentration of R naught is 10 times the concentration of A naught, right? R is equal to 10 times of A naught. That is the first thing. The reaction 1 hour moment, no, each things you note it down, okay? What is the main things that you note it down? The reaction can be considered to be pseudo first order reaction with assumption that Kr is equal to K naught, K dash. Due to this assumption, relative error in percentage in the rate when this reaction is 40% completion is. So we have to know first what is, if you know how to calculate the relative error in percentage, that is important. Then you should know what is pseudo first order reaction and what assumption we are doing in pseudo first order reaction. These two theories, if you don't know, you have to make it clear. Now again, there is nothing much about in the NCERT about pseudo first order reaction, so no need to read the NCERT from that part. You can just again go through it. If any particular point is mentioned, collect it, and I prefer you go through your notes, because your notes will be having more idea about the pseudo first order reaction. Now you can come first, again I told you before the notes, you can first read the solutions, you will get an idea. In the solution, you don't just mug it up, you try to collect the idea from the solution, the theory behind it, the note or the point behind it. So for example, you should know how to calculate relative error. Relative error, it's just if you know the concept, no, you can create your own formula also. Since actual method you use, whatever method you are using, so that what error is coming, the mode of that minus actual method, theoretical method without error, divided by that particular thing without error, into relative to whatever thing is happening, relative to the actual one, okay, into 100. Now this is the reactant they have given. Rate is equal to this, also we must be knowing, since you are already someone who is preparing for advance, this basics and all you must be already knowing, and this is the data they have given. And what is actually pseudo, now you have to go. If R is huge, if this is very huge amount, then R has to be considered like not changing, they should not change at all. But actually changes as follows. But actually by method, normal method, it definitely changes, but in pseudo we consider it as a constant value which is not changing. That is the point here, okay. So by actual method, we know A plus R gives product. Initially if I am taking 1 and 10, it is for your calculation easy I am taking, because if I am taking this as A naught, this will be 10 A naught, that is the correct thing. Since it is coming with ratio, A naught, I naught will cancel. That's why I am, for easiness, 1 and 10 I am taking. Now if here 0.4 is 1 stoichiometry, so here 40% completion, no, so 40% reacted. So 40% of 1 is reacted here, 40% one will react from this also. So 40% here, 40% here also reacted, right? If 1 reacted, 1 will form here, so this much will form here also. Now you got how much is the concentration of A and how much is the concentration of R. So rate with complete change, the actual change is equal to this into this K. Now if R considered as constant, means pseudo, according to pseudo, if it is like it should be constant value, right? So 110, if 40% consumed, nothing will be consumed from here, because we are considering it as a constant value. So now it is 0.6 and here it is 10 itself. So now we will again calculate the rate. Now we will use it in the usual, like the error method minus, it's not the error method, the actual method. The actual method, that only have written, right? Okay, it's sorry. I think whatever you used also correct. It will be used, whatever used, it's fine only. It should be actual method minus method used if you want to get a positive. That's why I have used here a mod. Whatever you used, you since you are taking a mod, it is fine. If this is interchanged also, no issues. So, like you see here, this is here you used it here the actual method, right? And actual method there will be lesser value because here it is constant. So here actually you will get a negative value. So you have to take the mode for sure. So here you see this minus the pseudo thing. I mean the pseudo rate pseudo first order reaction or pseudo order reaction. Like this after once you are doing with respect to the actual method, you will get the percentage error or relative percentage error, and this is the answer. So how to analyze this question? The main thing you have to focus, you should know what is happening in pseudo, because you should know in pseudo you have to take it as a constant value without changing. If you don't know that, you cannot do. And also if you don't know what is the formula to calculate relative error, then also you cannot do. So these two things you have to mainly note from that particular question. Again, this is how you have to analyze the question. Next one question I have taken here is, consider the following reaction. 2H2 plus 2NO gives N2 plus 2H2, which follow the mechanisms given. This is fast and equilibrium reaction, whereas this is slow reaction and fast reaction, the order of the reaction. This is very repetitive questions, this kind of questions. And for this question, what you should know, again there is nothing to taken from an NCERT point of view because it is a numerical kind. Mostly you have to refer your notes plus solutions. Okay, but the main point which you have to note out it, we know that rate determinant of the slow step, right? For an elementary reaction, rate depends on the slow step. Okay, it's not for an elementary reaction. Elementary reaction is one step. Okay, for a complex reaction. Okay, for a complex reaction, the rate depends on the slow step. For an elementary reaction, only one step mechanism, so rate will be completely of that one step. Okay, so rate depends on slow step. So rate is equal to, which is the slow step? This one, right? But very important, the production of this depends on this equilibrium. So the production of this depends on this equilibrium. We have to find the concentration of that from the equilibrium constant. K forward by K backward, whatever, just K forward you can take, K equilibrium you can take. You have to find out this. That is the important thing. So always understand, if a complex reaction, if slow step is mentioned, and before that if an equilibrium reaction is mentioned, then you have to find out the involved species in equilibrium, the concentration of that you have to find out from the equilibrium. You should know that concept. Otherwise you will just go with that. If you already prepared for the mains, no, you will be already knowing that this is a mains concept also. Okay, so rate is equal to, and I am going to find the concentration. It depends on this equilibrium. So K forward, K equilibrium will be equal to this divided by NO square. Therefore this particular species will be K equilibrium into NO square. So I am substituting that K into rate is equal to, already we know that, H2 into N2O2. So H2 into, instead of N2O2 I am K equilibrium into NO square. This 2 will be again a constant multiplied by a constant is another constant. Now you are getting 2 and 1 order as the 3. So this is how you have to solve this particular question. So again, what you have to understand, you should understand it depends on the slow reaction, and if any species is involved in equilibrium, you should find out from this equilibrium. That also you should know, right? So these two concept is very must. So the important thing is first analyzing the question and analyzing the NCERT of that particular, if it is a theory part, and then going to the solutions. You may get new concept or new points from the solutions. Verify it. If it is already a proper, use a proper source for the practice of questions, then you can refer to a note and use the maximum number of questions to solve. Okay, so this is how you can go with. For kinetics, again go with advanced topic, whatever in advance. Since you are doing PYQ analysis, you must be knowing also from where most of the questions came or coming from, especially parallel reaction, steady state approximation. These all are very important in this chapter. You should clearly know. now when you are studying also, you will focus on what to study more clearly also. Now you focus. That is the importance of analyzing PYQ in a proper way. I hope like everyone got a way how to study, and start as soon as possible, start, and all the best for everyone. Thank you.